Hey guys, welcome back to the Pet Glider for another informative video. Today we're going to be teaching you guys how to introduce two different sugar gliders. So we will take you step by step through the entire process, but first things first, we want to make sure that the gliders you have are compatible for each other. So there are two really big important things to look at before introducing the gliders. It's going to be age and gender. So for the genders, we want to make sure that your gliders won't be getting into any sort of fight. So if you're trying to have a breeding pair, you can introduce an intact male with a female. In rare cases, you can do breeding trios, but that's not going to be for beginners. We would really rather have you start out with two gliders. So if you're trying to introduce three, there's a lot of different parameters that have to happen to make that work. If you are a beginner, if you have any questions on that, always give us a call and make sure that you ask any questions before we try to go down that road. But mostly for breeding, you're just going to have the two. Now, if you're not breeding, you don't want to be introducing an intact male. So if you introduce a male and female, they are going to breed. If you don't want to have babies, your male needs to be neutered. If you're introducing two boys, intact males will be territorial, and usually that's going to lead to aggression. Even if another boy is neutered, it's not going to be ideal. Usually there will be fights, and we don't want your gliders to be at any risk here. So unless there's a breeding pair, pretty much any male needs to be neutered. If you did recently get your male neutered, you usually want to wait a few weeks and let that testosterone wear out of his system, let him calm down and kind of be prepared for introductions. But once you have two gliders of an appropriate gender that are going to be matched together, you also want to take into consideration their age. So basically, you don't want two different drastic sizes, like growing joeys with an older glider. They're going to tend to be bullying the smaller gliders. So gliders will usually stop growing at about 9 months to a year of age, depending. So if you have, say, a year-old glider and a 3-year-old glider, their age isn't going to really make too much of a difference in that situation. They're both relatively the same size. They should be full-grown anyway. They should be good to go. So you could introduce those guys. But the age will be a bigger factor if you're looking at young gliders. So if you have itty-bitty babies, you've got 2-month-old, 3-month-old gliders, you can introduce those guys. Typically want them to be within 1 to 2 months of age. So you don't want to take a 2 or 3-month-old baby and introduce them with a 7-month-old baby. There's going to be a big age, the age gap is going to have a big size difference there, and so the older glider is usually going to bully the smaller one. So you would want to do a 7-month-old glider with maybe 6 months or 9 months. If you were trying to have joeys that are going to be a breeding pair, there's some other situations that you might want to consider as well. So you could give us a call at the Pet Glider and we'll go over any kind of situation like that with you guys. But generally, you just want to make sure that your joeys are very close in age, or if they're over a year, they should be pretty much full grown and good to go with other adult gliders. So once you've got your pair picked out and you're ready to go ahead with introductions, we'll show you how to do that. We have a step-by-step process coming up for you here, and then if at any point you notice any type of aggression, you just want to take a step back, separate the gliders, put them back in their cages, give them a breather, don't try again until the next day. So some gliders will be quicker than others. It's a bonding process with these guys, just like anything else. These gliders that we introduced on film here, they were actually very sweet. The introduction went marvelous, and we were able to take them through the entire process and put them in the same cage the same day. But as we know, things don't always work out that smoothly, so just be patient. It's very common for glider introductions to take several days. If you notice any type of lunging, aggression, biting, separate them and just wait till tomorrow to keep the process going. If you do notice any kind of vocalizations, crabbing with no aggression, there's no biting or lunging, that is okay. You can accept the vocalizations and just let them communicate. You always want to keep an eye on the gliders after they've been freshly introduced. You'll monitor them for several days. But yeah, if you think they need a break, just separate them and give it some time, and we are here for you the entire way. If you have any questions, always feel free to give us a call and we'll walk you through it the best that we can. So I hope you enjoy this video, and here we go. So when you get your new sugar glider home, you're going to have him in his own cage with his own toys and pouches and everything unique to him. And remember, when you bring home a brand new glider, you don't want to handle them for several days. Just let them acclimate to their new surroundings. So you can put each of your cages about 4 inches apart, let the gliders see and smell each other, but they shouldn't be able to reach each other at all. And after a few days go by, you can begin to swap out their items, their toys and pouches, and they'll get acquainted to each other's scent like that. Now when you're ready to begin introductions, you'll want to do this in a clean, neutral environment such as a countertop. And the best time for this will be in the morning around 9 to 11 a.m. So we've got two sugar gliders here in their own pouches, each with a binky that has their scent on it. And we're going to go ahead and untie these pouches and take out the binkies. So the first step will be to introduce the gliders to each other's scent without actually introducing the gliders to each other yet. So we've got Nina on the right here. We're going to take out her binky. And then on the left we have Shelby. You don't necessarily have to have both of your pouches open at the same time like this, but our girls were very calm, so it was all right in this situation. Now we do have mealworms here. You see that's a great mediator for these situations. So we're just going to scoop Nina back into her pouch, let her munch on those mealworms, and that's going to give her a good thing to focus on, kind of calm her down and get her in a good mood over there. So we pulled out each of their binkies. The girls are still in their own pouches. Now we're going to swap these binkies, and we will rub the scent of each glider onto the other glider. So you see those mealworms are coming in handy now. Nina's in there munching away. She's not too worried about what we're doing. She's not reacting to the binky with another glider's scent on it. But we are going to rub that scent into her fur so she kind of gets acclimated to that. And she's behaving really well here. After we get a good scrub, we're just going to leave the binky in with her, let her continue munching on her mealworms, and do the same over here with Shelby. We're going to now rub Nina's scent onto her. Just give it a good couple of seconds to rub around and let them sit. Let them continue to eat and sniff and just kind of get used to this. Now after a little bit of time, we're going to go ahead and let the gliders sniff each other's tails. So we've got one glider restrained over here, and we're going to let Nina come out and get the first sniff. She only has access to the tail, and you can see she is eager to get in there and start smelling. Now if you experience any crabbing at this point, vocalizations really, they are okay so long as there's no physical aggression. If you see any type of biting or lunging, you want to separate the gliders immediately. So you'll put them back into their own pouches, in their own cages, and you'll just start this process over from the beginning tomorrow. Now if there's no physical aggression, if there's just vocalizations and curiosity, then we are good to go. So we've given her plenty of time, and she's lost interest here. And now we're going to switch them around. So we've got Nina restrained now, and Shelby is giving it a sniff. She is a little bit more hesitant of a glider, so she's not crabbing, not really responding too much. She's taken her time, and we're going to give her plenty of time to feel comfortable with this smell. So both of our girls did really good with this process, and now after they've had enough time to smell each other's tails, we'll go ahead and move on to face-to-face. So we're going to open up these pouches and let the girls see each other for the first time. Now you will probably experience some vocalizations at this point. This is where you're going to have the highest likelihood of crabbing and different forms of communication between the gliders. If you do notice those vocal sounds, you know, they can be alarming, but it's okay as long as you don't notice any fighting. If you do notice biting or lunging, signs of aggression, you want to separate your gliders immediately, put them back in their respective pouches, and try again tomorrow. But as long as we just see sniffing, if you just hear some normal crabbing and you see these girls are getting a good sniff on each other's pouches, this is all really calm, curious behavior. So this is perfect. These girls were very good for us, actually. So we just want them to take their time and smell each other's pouches, get nice and comfortable before we move any further. So that's what they're doing. They're smelling around and getting acquainted with each other's scent. This would be a good time. In a few seconds here, we'll give them some more mealworms. So when they're first meeting each other and they're doing all this smelling, we don't want to necessarily distract them with mealworms. But now that they've had more time to get used to each other and they're already responding positively, you know, things have kind of died down a little bit, we'll give them some worms just to really reinforce this positive time. So they're going to get an extra treat now that their introduction is coming to an end. And the next step will be to put them in a cage together. So when we go into the new clean cage, this is going to be a neutral territory for the gliders. You'll want them to be in two pouches with nobody's scent on them, so completely fresh new pouches. They've been introduced here with each other's pouches, so it's good right now that they're sitting in one pouch together and they're not bothered by any particular scent. But as we get ready to put them into the cage, we're going to take them away from these pouches and put them into a brand new one. So we will take both girls, they're getting along good, we'll put them in one pouch, nice clean one, and we will have a second one available as well. Here we're going to hang that up, new empty pouch over there, just to give them an alternative option in case they need to separate if they're not doing too well together. You always want to have that plan B option. So we've got that clean pouch over there and this one with our girls in it. We've got them hung up in here. Now, they are currently in that one together. Our hopes are that in the morning they will be sleeping together in either one of the pouches, but they have those two options just in case they need to separate. Now, if you do see them sleeping separate, it's okay. It might take a few days for them to really be all right with sleeping together, but usually gliders don't like being alone, and they will sleep side by side soon. So remember, this is a brand new introduction, and we want to keep a close eye on these gliders for the next few days. Don't handle them at all, just let them really interact with each other and get used to this situation. Especially monitor them at night when they start to wake up, and if you do notice any fighting, you might need to separate them. But our hopes are that they will begin to sleep together and everything will continue to go well. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that informational video from the pet glider. If you have any questions about glider care, any comments about things you might want to see from us in the future, whatever, send us a message. We are here for you. We love to hear what you guys are into. Be sure you're following our pages on social media, so whenever we do release new videos, and if we have sales or anything going on, you want to be the first to know about it. So give us a like, subscribe, follow, all those good things, and we will see you later.